What is good, y'all, and welcome back to Chris and Ralph Productions. As always, I am Chris. I hope you are having a wonderful day or evening wherever you are at. So, this video is about a film called Godzilla Minus One.
あれはゴジラ。
So this is going to be my review for the Toho Studios Godzilla film, which came out about a month ago in Japan, and then it released internationally and here in the States just a few weeks ago. This film it's in Japanese, so you can watch it in dub or sub. Ralph and I we watched it in subbed. So first of all, I just want to say I think for this film, especially, you want to watch it in subbed because the actors and actresses in this film are just absolutely phenomenal. We're going to get more into that. I just want to give my brief thoughts on just the plot. No spoilers, of course, the cast, and of course, the main man himself, Godzilla. So, before we get into this review, if you can, please give this video a like, and if you haven't subscribed, try subscribing. If you want to wait for the to subscribe at the end of this video, then after this review, then please, you're more than welcome to. But yeah, let's go ahead and get into this review. Also, no spoilers, so let's go ahead and get into it. So, this film it takes place during World War II and after World War II. We all know what happened, the Hiroshima and the travesty of that city and how it affected the people. So this film picks up right towards the tail end of World War II. It follows our main character. I'm gonna mispronounce these names. I'm gonna try my best to pronounce them, but let's go ahead and get into it. Kochi, played by Kamiki Ryusuke. I tried. I tried. He is a kamikaze pilot who stalled out his plane and he lands on this island so he can get his plane fixed to go into his mission. And right away, we are introduced to Godzilla himself. So, what I think this film does best, it portrays the fear that your point of view whenever you're watching this film, whenever you're a human in this film, you feel like you can't do anything. You feel useless, you feel little, you feel small, you feel scared. And this Godzilla is is an asshole. This Godzilla, he doesn't really have a reason why he's doing what he's doing. He has not been targeted, to my understanding. He just came out of the water and just said, "Hey, I'm gonna mess with these people." And this film, what it does is it's about so the title is minus one, and from what I've read online and from my understanding, it's about how, this town and city in Japan, how they were able to build back after the bombing, after the havoc wreaked on that town and that city. And it takes place over years after World War II. And we get introduced to a character named Noriko. She is probably my favorite character in this film. She is this lady who was kind of left behind in the war. She's just trying to make her way, and she has this baby with her. So those are our three main characters in this story: Kochi, Noriko, and the baby. And essentially, we just see how they meet, how they build their home, how they build their family, and just um, Kochi, him trying to recover from the trauma that he endured from Godzilla himself. And like I mentioned earlier, like the acting is just phenomenal. So as an American, I've seen many Japanese films. So whenever I'm watching this in theaters, I normally don't see um subbed movies in theaters with subtitles where it's like in a different language. I just don't. They have them in theaters here in the states, but like I don't go normally out of my way to see them. But for this one, Godzilla minus one, there is just something about it that I had to go see in theaters, and their performances are just very intense. And there was times as I'm watching it, I'm like, man, like this is it's different because it's very, their culture is different, obviously, but it's just I think the way that the way that they act in certain scenes of intense moments, and at times you're thinking like, man, that actor is really he's really going at it. Borderline, you think he's overacting, but he really isn't. It's just how they make their films. It's just how Toho Studios and films that come out of Japan and in other countries too in that area, just how they portray tense moments, how they portray conversations. So when you're watching it, you're like, damn, this is this simple conversation. It feels like it's the last conversation these two are ever gonna have. But you got to understand, like, this is just how they make their films. This is how certain aspects of the culture can be portrayed through their films. And I think it's done wonderfully. I think you have an understanding of why people are scared, or why Kochi is scared of Godzilla. At the time, these people don't know who Godzilla is, and they're just trying to build back their town. They're trying to build back their city. We meet a variety of characters, and actors, and who are just people who are just trying to recover from the war, and they're trying to build back. We meet characters like Kenji, Shiro, Sosaku, Samiko, and Yoji. No, so we meet fishermen. We meet people who have to go out and blow out the mines that are left in the ocean because of World War II. Samiko, she's Kochi's and Noriko's neighbor. She has a very interesting character development from the first time you see her to the end. When the first time you see her, you feel Samiko, you feel like she's lost. She's angry towards those who, from her perspective, lost the war, World War II. She has a resentment towards certain characters in this movie. And like I mentioned, this movie takes place over a few years. So throughout the development of the years, developing the town and Samiko developing her home again, you start to see how she is just a kind and caring person. Um, and it's like I met, she just does an amazing job portraying the development of her character. Um, and Kochi and Noriko, we see how their home develops throughout time, and we see what wreaks havoc in Godzilla. So minus one, from my understanding, it's called minus one because you had this town build up one step. You have Godzilla come knock everything out minus one. Let's go ahead and get into the main man, Godzilla. That's who you're here to talk here about. This is who you want to, you want to talk about. So Godzilla, he is a bastard. First off, they played his OG music. Dun, 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 dun. Oh my god! When they play that in theaters, you felt this rumble, just roar of just intense, just this creature that just doesn't give a damn about anything living besides itself. And there's obviously what Godzilla does best is he goes and he destroys towns. He just puts fear into people. There's a in the second act, there is the main Godzilla sequence where he goes and destroys the city. It's in the trailers. I'm sure you've probably seen clips online. If you haven't seen the movie already, um, that sequence is, excuse my language. Well, I'm not gonna cuss. It's heartbreaking. It's devastating. Like I said earlier, you feel small. You feel like you can't do anything. And something happens to one of our main characters. I'm not gonna say who or what, but it just punches you in the gut. You feel like you lost a family member because of how invested you are in their lives. Once he wreaks havoc, obviously the town, how you have Kochi, Genji, Shiro, Nosaku, them, and then ex-military people who fought in the war come together, try to make this plan to try and kill Godzilla, and that leads us into the third act, I'm not going to say what happens, but I will say sort of the intensity. Um, it's a hatched plan that Kenji, he's a scientist in this film, comes up with, and you're sort of like on the edge of your seat, wondering like, well, we've seen what Godzilla can do. Are some boats and rafts going to take him down? Um, and I think Kochi, the main character, our main protagonist, he did something during the war that haunts him throughout the film, especially Godzilla as well. And he makes this decision to be the hero. And I'm not going to say what happens or what he does. It involves a plane, but because he's a pilot, of course, you just feel like, so what a lot of movies do is they do a lot of foreshadowing. You feel like, oh, they planted that nugget. This person is gonna live, this person is gonna die. With the third act in Godzilla minus one, you honestly don't know if this character is gonna live or die. Like genuinely, you have no. You can guess, and if it happens, then you're like, I was right. If it doesn't happen, you're like, I mean, I wasn't that wrong. But what this movie does best in the writing, it's just honestly, it leaves nuggets, but then it leaves this idea, you flip flop in your head, like, is this character gonna die? Is this character gonna sacrifice himself? Is this character gonna live? And when all the dominoes fall and the dust clears, you start to understand why these characters made the decisions that they made. And let's go ahead and get into how I felt about the ending. Obviously, no spoilers. Um, Godzilla, he is a bastard, and the results was sort of just like, okay, so what does that mean for this character? What does that mean for Godzilla? And in terms for our humans, Kochi, Noriko, and all them, I teared up. I started to cry at the end because you felt closure in their stories. You felt like there was closure, there was happiness, and at the same time travesty because of what led up to that moment. But overall, I think this film is just amazing. It's easily my top two of the year, top three. No, I think it's number two for me. I have it at number two. Number one for me, still Guardians. But yeah, Godzilla minus one. It's the best, my favorite, my personal opinion. You have different opinions. Of course, you have different opinions. I think it is the best Godzilla movie I have ever seen. Right now, we're in a Godzilla renaissance. We have the Godzilla minus one. We have Monarch Legacy of Monsters on Apple TV. We have Godzilla X Con coming out early next year. And I'm sure we have some other Godzilla projects coming down the pipeline that we are not aware of or we are aware of. And I think that this character is just proving the test of time that there's a reason why this character has been relevant for over 80 years. Right? 80 years? Yeah, something like that. Um, because people just want to see monsters. They just want to see Godzilla. They just want to see Kong. They just want to see havoc and wreaking havoc and them destroying cities and these big CG battles. And of course, those are the moments that you remember most from watching these films. The giant battles, the destruction, the chaos. But towards a certain point, you need people to invest your time, and you need human characters to care for. And you can see the cities being destroyed, but if you don't have any emotional connection to anybody that you see on the screen, you're just going to be like, it's just CG bodies being destroyed, and it's just chaos. But when you have attachments, when you have this beautiful storyline in Godzilla minus one being developed throughout, then you every time Godzilla does something crazy, you just kind of like, damn, gosh, I can't believe that happened. It's not just mindless violence. Well, he's a mindless violence person or creature, but you're invested in the story. So I'm gonna give this movie a 10 out of 10. It is deserving of it. Right now, it's doing great in the box office. They extended, I think, the box office. I mean, they extended its theatrical window here in the states. So there's showings right now wherever you're at. If you want to get tickets, highly suggest for you to go watch this in theaters before it's gone. I mean, I want to see it again in theaters one, and I just can't wait to see it here in the comfort of my home. Because I want to show people who don't go to theaters at all, because they don't like sitting in a theater. I want to show them this movie and have them just love it. My mother, she loves Godzilla. She loves the Godzilla world. She doesn't go to the theaters. So I know when this comes out on streaming or for me to buy it on Blu-ray, I know we're gonna sit there and watch it, and I'm sure she's gonna have a good time watching this film or a sad time, depending on how you perceive this film. But yeah, guys, so that is my review. So I hope I did this movie justice talking about the characters and Godzilla himself. So if you haven't subscribed, and I hope I've earned your subscription, please hit that button down below, like, share as well. It really helps the channel grow and build. Yeah, guys, so that is pretty much it. This is my review for Godzilla minus one. Until next time, guys, I'm Chris. I'll catch you next time. Peace.